must be true.
Join Ōʞpēyẹmí Akínyẹ̀dé and Said Fuad on Midweek Politics every Wednesday 1 to 3 p.m. on Mainland 98.3 FM for thought-provoking conversations, voices from the top, engaging interviews, in-depth analysis on all matters around politics, policies and governance. Midweek Politics on Mainland 98.3 FM, bringing the right perspectives to everything politics.
Politics now big business.
The intangibles of leadership begins from corporeal manifestation of governance. A people must not see a brick and mortar element of leadership. They must also feel and sense leadership in its quantum level of compassion, healing, solace, and capacity to inspire unity, as well as foster peace and progress. One of the major requirements to have a nation that is filled with development had to do with how the people heal from every process. The question we're going to be talking to you about on the show today is this: have you truly healed from the 2023 presidential election as we count down to the first anniversary of the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? I've always told people the administration started in February. The moment he was declared president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, he became the president-elect. And even though there was still a sitting president, but don't also forget that it's a transition from the same political party, expectedly from the same political structure. As people would always imagine, what exactly was going through the minds of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu within the period he was declared winner and the period he was sworn in. That's February to May 2023. You're welcome to Midweek Politics, live on Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Ōʞpēyẹmí Akínyẹ̀dé, and we get to do these every Wednesday from 1 to 3 p.m. We take you through the world of political conversation deeper than you would hear it probably from anywhere else, perhaps way beyond what you get to hear or read from your regular news outlet. We dig deep. We talk about the stakeholders, the who is who that is involved in the story. We bring it down to every tiny details that you need to know about it. It's going to be an amazing conversation on the show today. And you know I don't do this alone. I have, well, last week somebody sent a message to one of our Facebook groups that he listens to political conversation on different political spaces, radio, TV, and Said Fuad happens to be one of the best analysts he's had to listen to. And so it's always a pleasure when we get to do this together every Wednesday 1 to 3 p.m. And you can also catch Said Fuad on Sunday 6 to 8 p.m. on Political Roundtable. Said Fuad and a league of extraordinary gentlemen breaks everything down to you, from Nuruddin Adegbinro to Barrister Curtis. You get to hear all of these conversations and more. But we're here today to break it down for you. Like I said, if you follow some of our conversations here, especially in this situation, we started a series called the Scorecard Series as we build up to the first anniversary of the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and ultimately the 9th year of the APC government. Remember, 8 years under former President Muhammadu Buhari, and Tinubu took over on the same political path. Side forward, it's another Wednesday, another midweek, another lunchtime conversation on radio on politics, the politicking itself, governance, leadership, especially as Nigerians sit back and appraise what the last 1 year had been under the renewed hope agenda. Is it the area of education, infrastructure, public health? We'll break all of that down today. But the most important thing is that it's 1 year and Nigerians will have to sit back and ask, are we better than we were last year, or the prospect is what we're holding on to? Good afternoon. Thank you for being on the show with me today.
Well, thank you so much, Okoyemi. It's nice to be in the studio with you. Of course, doing this every Wednesday, 1 to 3 p.m. Again, a very good opportunity to look at critical issues in our politics and our policy as a people. It's going to be 1 year, really. Our time flies, Okoyemi. I remember that we extensively covered the last general elections. You know, we did our bit, really, to bring out all of the reports. I think we also have even make it a national one. We touched on different parts of the country.
Almost all the 26 states that had governorship election.
And then in Lagos, we did our bit really to even ensure that, you know, we brought out reports even from the Collation Center and all of that. And it's just like yesterday, Okoyemi. Our time flies. Just like yesterday, I remembered, you know, the back and forth at the Collation Center, the delays. How I think the results from
all of the dramas. Well, it was Amuodofi that we met both teams.
You know, and then of course the collation too, where the 10,000 that was missing had to be found somehow, and eventually our Labour Party, against all odds, you know, was able to win Lagos at the presidential level, and then of course the turn of events for the governorship elections. You know, so 1 year down the line, here we are. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you know, after a lot of promises, you know, of course, giving Nigerians that manifesto of renewed hope. He will be 1 year in office as president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I think a lot of Nigerians will be waiting to see the scorecard of himself, by himself. What would the president now tell Nigerians he has been able to achieve in 1 year? I think there are going to be different perspectives to that conversation. I'm sure that those that support the president will still believe that, look, he's still on the right track. The mandate that they voted for, they supported, is a mandate that will probably take them to El Dorado. And I'm sure that those that feel that, look, it's the 1 year of flip-flops, it's the 1 year of disappointing policies here and there, would think that, look, it's been 1 year of failed promises and what have you. But I think we can have a decent conversation as to, well, is it too early? The Nobel laureate, Professor Olayinka, said that, look, you only begin to rate this government after 1 year. So a lot of Nigerians will also be waiting for that. You know, he said it, that look, I'll wait till 1 year. After 1 year, I'll be able to tell you what I feel about this government under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But again, Okoyemi, a fantastic time to be on radio to look at the political space and some of the intrigues as we have it.
One thing that the Nigerian political space had never given us in short supply is intrigues, drama.
Yeah.
Today is Emefiele reportedly using about
to print. How do you use billions to print millions?
Interesting.
Yeah.
If it's not Emefiele today, is Governor Fubara. 3-member House of Assembly. They have the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, and the Majority Leader. And they are carrying out legislative responsibility in the House of Assembly, screening commissioners. We're going to play you something on that as well. So on the menu today, we have an appraisal space for the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We certainly won't be able to cover everything. I mean, there's next week Wednesday, and you can also catch us on the Situation Room as well, 4 to 5:30 every Mondays to Friday, as we continue the scorecard series. And it's not just going to be the national political conversation alone. I will come subnational. We'd always focus so much on what happens at the presidency, but on the scorecard, we look at what happens to the governors, the ones that have spent 1 year, the ones that began their second year. Yesterday, the Senior Special Assistant on Public Communication to the Governor of Adamawa State was with me in the Situation Room, and we broke everything down, the challenge. So the conversation continues like that. Okay. One question I want to ask that has troubled my mind is the fact that the last administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari played the blame game. From the first day in office almost till the end of the administration, They're always reference to what happened to the PDP. Oh, we met all of this chaos on ground. The PDP rule of 16 years, the D's, and then the blame game continued almost all through the administration. But you look at the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a lot of people have called him the healer-in-chief, they've called him the unifier by example, they've called him the consoler-in-chief. But I want to ask you side forward, and that's where the conversation will start today. In the last 1 year, as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu looked to you like a president for all?
Well, that's a very tough question, okay? Because again, I understand how perceptions can differ depending on where you're looking.
You're so keen on selective perception.
No, because again, there are people that will tell you, oh, yes, he's done fantastically well, blah, blah, blah. There are people that will tell you, oh, it's been so disappointing. But again, I think the best that we can do is to put the facts on the table. And I will pick my words, for example, from what by Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ would say that, look, governance is about what? The individual. You ask yourself, are you better off today than when he came into power? That's the most appropriate yardstick, okay, to judge the performance of any government. Oh, you have done this in the economy, you have done that with this and all of that. The biggest question, or the question that you should ask yourself as a Nigerian today is that, look, is your life better off
than it was
when this president came into power? And I think that should answer the question. For a lot of Nigerians, okay, myself inclusive, the reality is that, look, things have been very, very tough. And when I say a lot of Nigerians, the larger percentage of Nigerians will tell you today that it's been a roller coaster of troubles, tough times, inflation, and a whole lot of things. Insecurity too, okay, and of course, they're going to be putting that against when the president came and all of the promises he made. If you understand what I'm saying, how he came with the renewed hope agenda that, look, it's time for us to renew our hopes. Things are not going to go too bad for too long. I'm here to turn things around. Even on the campaign grounds, there were assurances from the president. Look, I understand what the problems are. At some point, he even said, "No, don't pity me. It's a lifelong ambition. I've prepared all my life for this job. And look, we're going to turn things around for you." And if you look at it, okay, from the campaign ground till the day of inauguration, and of course the subsequent broadcast after inauguration, it's been promises indicate that subsidy is now still being paid. They're still doing something. It's in market, okay, up till for the government to implement NAFEMS, which is the Nigerian Customs, and all of these
complication.
But the reality is that, look, where are we today? In your parliament, about
1,540 naira.
So that's also one policy, because again, we talk about flagships. Like when they came in, what were their policies? So I've told you about subsidy as we speak. It's been there. The crisis that has come as a result of subsidy removal are still there. Are we still paying subsidy or not paying subsidy? Every indication, all the facts on ground show
that we're paying subsidy.
We are back to paying subsidy. Call it whatever name you call it. And while we are still dealing with all of that, all of the promises of getting our refineries back to life have still not happened. If you understand what I'm saying, okay, Now, Forex is there as a policy that we're still dealing with. Now, the third one is the revenue drive of this government. It was a government, I think there's this very trending soundbite from the president during the campaigns where he said that, look, we can slow down the economy and widen the tax net, but not introduce new layers of taxes. That was the way he said it. We're going to slow down the economy. That I don't understand what he means by that, because again, there was a lot of flip-flop during the campaign. So, because I don't know how you slow down the economy really. I would think that you should be working to push the economy forward. But he said, look, we can slow down the economy by widening the tax net, and then not necessarily imposing new taxes. Okay, that is a policy that highlights the aggressive revenue drive of the government. As we speak, the economy actually slowed down. If not is on the
stop. But there's more money to the government right now.
Now, the more government has now been able to continue to raise more monies. The revenues are coming in, at least consistently. FAC allocations has been over $1 trillion amongst the three tiers.
In March, there was $1,231 billion.
So more money as against what used to happen during Buhari's time, where 600 billion, 650 billion, and all of that. But now, consistently, at least in the last 6 months or so, it's been over ⁻ trillion naira. So more monies have been available to government. The issue of widening the tax net or introducing multiple levels of taxes is a big question. The recent one was the cybersecurity levy that has now been suspended, and every other levy, taxes, and what have you. Have we widened the tax net? I think the government has been able to do that. But the promise of not imposing
new taxes,
we are not saying the government keeps bringing in things. So if you aggregate the performance of, I know we're still going to delve into the issue bigger, but I think it's about Nigerians asking themselves whether you are the supporter of the government or you are not the supporter of the government, or maybe you are neutral or non-neutral. The question is this: from May 29, 2023 till this day, to this very moment, you ask yourself, have you lived better? Has your living condition improved? I think that's the question for Nigerians.
Yes. 14 days from now, the president would clock exactly 1 year that he was sworn in. And I want to take a quote from one of the statements the president made on the 29th of May 2023. That's upon his declaration. And I think that was supposed to be one of the defining motives of his administration. And he said, and I quote, "Our administration shall govern on your behalf, but never rule you. We shall consult and dialogue, but never dictate. We shall reach out to all, but never put down a single person for withholding view contrary to our own. We're here to further mend and heal this nation, not tear and injure it." That's why I asked the question, how much of a healer has the president been? Side forward, we cannot shy away from the fact that the 2023 presidential election almost tore the fiber of this country. Politics were played along tribal lines, along religious line, along party affiliation, along the most trivial of sentiment you can ever imagine. You think, I mean, democracy of the largest black nation in the world, with over 200 million people, with thousands of professors, elite level, you would think that the Nigerian mentality should be focused on competence, capability, credibility, and ability of individuals to deliver on promises, and not necessarily because, oh, I'm Muslim and you're Muslim and that's why I'm voting for you. Oh, our local, I'm Yoruba, you're Yoruba, that's why I'm voting for you. And those were the things that almost, even in our own Lagos here, we knew what happened at the governorship election, the whole agenda that was being sold out. And the president said one of the things at the start was that I'm going to unify everyone. I'm going to listen to the young people. And if you look at it, side forward, over 12 million people voted against the president. If you put together the 6.1 million vote of Labour Party that came third, the about 6.8 million vote of the PDP that came second, the 1.4 million vote of New Nigerian People's Party, and the likes of Lɪධᴇ and the other people, it's almost 13 million as against the less than 9 million people that voted for the president. So we have a situation where the president is leading against the opposition, which is normal. That's the beauty of democracy. From 1999 till last year's election, it's always been a two-party system. Is the Labour or is the Alliance for Democracy to AC, that's Action Congress of Nigeria, then it metamorphosed into All Progressive Congress. But the PDP had always been on the other side. So it expects that people would want to heal and take their time to go through this. But no healing can come when people are feeling further burdened. Because the responsibility of government at every level, side forward, is primarily to protect the lives and the properties of the people you're governing, whether they voted for you or not. As long as I'm a Nigerian, whether I vote for Party W, I vote for APC, whatever, the government is responsible for my well-being, for my safety. I made that quote because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu gave Nigerians his words that he's not going to rule, he's going to lead. He's going to consult and not impose. Now, we did that, and I'm going to also play one of the things he said before he won the election. One of the campaign promises, and then what would come back from this bite, we'll break it down step by step. How well have we performed? These governments have had people outside of the political party. A lot of people don't know that the current Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, He's not even a member of the APC. Remember, he left for Accord Party,
yes.
after the primaries
From
of
the
the
APC
governorship
Accord,
election in Ondo State, in Oyo State. There's also Bosun Tijani, the minister of the Nigeria's current minister of digital economy.
Yeah.
He's not even a politician. In fact, he was one of the strongest critics of the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari.
Yeah.
And I remember on the day of the screening at the Senate, he was asked, in fact, his tweets were read to him. And the president reached out.
Strong ash words.
Strong words. And the president reached out and brought him on board, of course.
As a technocrat, yeah.
Yes, we can't forget Iirsᴛ Wike. He's still a card-carrying member of the PDP, one of the BOT members of the PDP, and he's already serving under the administration of the APC government. So you look at all of this thing, but let me play you this sound by side forward. And for everyone listening, one of the many promises that the administration gave to us prior to the election, and when we come back, we ask ourselves these questions. How well has this administration gone? 1 year down the line, so far, how good? It's Midweek Politics, and you're live on Mainland 98.3 FM. Take a listen to what Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu said before he became President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
As a presidential candidate.
Exactly, prior to the 2023 general election. We'll come back in a few moments.
Whichever way, by all means necessary, you must have electricity, and you will not pay for estimated bill anymore. A promise made will be a promise kept. If I can't keep the promise and I come back for second term, don't vote for me.
Welcome back. That was the presidential candidate of the APC, now the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The last line was very clear. If I don't keep to my promises, when I come back to you for a second term, don't vote for me. That was not a statement credited to Malam Nasir El-Rufai or Babatunde Raji Fashola. I mean, remember the last administration, if you ask the president, oh, Mr. President, you promised, you say, I didn't say it.
It was the party that was saying
it. Was the party, but this was the statement of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And if you look at this side far, I was watching a program yesterday, Dateline 360 on NTA, and they're trying to break down how far the president had done in the area of defense, in the area of public transportation. They're trying to put all of those things on ground. And one of the things that came to me is that no matter how beautiful your policies are side forward, no matter how grandstanding your ideas are, the ultimate end is to have positive effect on the lives of the people, irrespective of your social status, whether you're a billionaire or you're selling fried yam at Abule Egba, whether you have ranges of cars parked in your garage or you use keke napep to go to your place of hustle every day. Leadership entails that everyone on that line must be positively affected. That means I don't have any reason, side forward, why I should spend the profit on my business to power the same business. That means I don't have any reason whatsoever why I should collect loans in the bank to buy fertilizer and plant my crops and then pay bandits tax to access my own farm. I don't have any reason whatsoever why I should be transporting my goods from the farm to the market and the bad roads would damage everything that I've labored to work on. I don't have any business whatsoever aside for that. Why I cannot travel from Lagos to Kogi by road for fear of not being kidnapped. These are the things that as a Nigerian, the president owes me. As a Nigerian, the president owes you. As a Nigerian, the president owes everyone listening to us right now. So let's start from the area of power, which is key. Mr. Mɪᴅ Wᴇᴇᴜ, the chief political editor of Guardian, made a statement when he was on the show one of the Thursdays. He said if the president can fix the issue of power, if the president can fix the issue of security, that will fix about 60% of the problems that we have as a nation. It means that small-scale businesses can grow. They can expand. The barber can open another shop. and employ new people, the hairstylist. And why I decided to go this way is that in a fragile economy like Nigeria's economy, the small-scale business operators stimulate the growth within the economy.
Yeah.
The employers of 10 and 20s and 50s and 5s and 2 one-man business, they stimulate the economy, because everybody will not be on the minimum wage conversation. Some people would always have a way to put food on that table. Let's talk about the power issues that we have in this country. Billions of naira were invested under the administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo. The late Mɪᴅ Wᴇᴇᴜ also did his own. Former President Goodluck Jonathan also did his own. The immediate past President Muhammadu Buhari also did his own. The administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had committed billions into fixing power in this country. Side forward, we're back again on this table. How have we struggled to fix the issue of power in this country? On Monday, the combined labor union, that's the NLC and the Trade Union Congress and some civil society organizations, had a nationwide protest. Locked the offices of the National Electricity Regulation Commission nationwide. Some discos were locked as well. They paid a visit to the office of the Minister of Power, and the Assistant Secretary of the NLC said that the Minister of Power absconded. That was the word he used, because he joined us on the show via phone from Abuja. Why have we gotten stuck with looking for solution to the power problems of this countryside for? Why has it defied all available and explainable odds?
All right, I'm going to first start with the idea of the president making a promise that I'm going to fix the power problem in the country, and I was sure that no Nigerian pays
estimated bill.
bill.
I'm a Nigerian, and I'm still paying estimated bill.
When he made that promise, Okoyemi, during the campaigns, we had a lot of promises from all the candidates. There were promises, because at every stop, it was an opportunity to keep promising people things. And the president was also at least one of the frontline candidates that touched on almost all part of the country, promising El Dorado. But I used to say at that time, if you remember, that we don't ask them how and when. That look, okay, Mr. President, we're going to fix the power problem. Number one, how do you want to fix it? And then number two, when will you fix it? I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
I'm with you.
The only timeline I get from that speech of the president you played is that, look, he says, look, if I don't do it, when I come next for your vote, don't vote for me. So it's safe to say, he's looking at a 4-year period. But the elections won't come at exactly 4 years. It will come before 4 years.
By next year, we're moving into politics
and all that. So, but there are no clear timelines, really. And this is not the only promise that has come from the president. There are numerous promises that the president has made to Nigerians. And up till today, that's why I said, look, we never probed, we never dug into all of those promises to say how and when. Okay, how do you want to fix this issue of estimated billing? How do you want to fix the power problem? When exactly should we expect that, yes, Nigerians can now say, yes, the president has been able to solve the power problem. There's no more estimated billing. We now have service delivery when it comes to power. We didn't ask those questions then. Now, you've asked me the second question of why has it been extremely difficult for us, to solve the power problem in the country. It's an unfortunate situation, really. Because I tell people that there are countries that are far, far smaller than Nigeria. There are countries with little or no resources compared to what we have to be able to, ensure stable and steady power for Nigerians that have been able to solve the problem of power. It's not even on the table of their conversations again. Let's go memory lane, Let's just even limit ourselves to the Fourth Republic, because again, where we're coming from before the Fourth Republic was the NEPA chaotic situation and all of that. At least the last we know of 1999 to 2007, our Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, was that there were serious investments in the power sector. Towards the tail end of his government was when there was this conversation as to whether $16 billion was spent or not on the power sector. We also got the information, was reported and confirmed too, that look, towards the end of his administration, so a lot of power equipment came in.
They were brought in.
And a lot of them are still there, rotting at the ports, because they came in almost too late, at almost the end of.
But isn't government supposed to be a continuous side
now
forward?
When Yar'Adua came in, we saw a lot of policy somersault. We saw problems with, in fact, it was the Yar'Adua government that also revealed that there's been a lot of monies into the power sector that has gone down the drain. And at that time, they kept referring to this particular $16 billion, if you remember. Now, it all came in, Yar'Adua came in, but I always say to people that, look, it's extremely difficult to judge the Yar'Adua government because it wasn't a government that lasted for too long, 2 years. Within the 2 years, he was struggling with his health, but Jonathan came in. And then we got what was supposed to be the turnaround, in the power sector. The sector was broken into 3 levels. You have the generation, the transmission,
and the distribution.
And at that time, the model that was sold to Nigerians, because I remember that, look, when this model was brought up under the Jonathan administration, a lot of Nigerians celebrated it. They welcomed it. They thought it was going to be that much needed turnaround for Nigeria to get back to, a situation where we could ensure, adequate power supply to Nigerians. The generation was handed over to the private sector. The transmission end left to the hand of government, while distribution was given to the power sector, to the private sector. But at that time, Nigerians didn't pay attention to what happened at that time. Who were the guys
that did the bidding,
that took over these facilities? And what was the plan? It was a 10-year period. Were there clear timelines in terms of achievables? What was the investment structure at that time? Okay, the GENCOs, it's the 6 of them. Distribution, 11 companies. Transmission end left to government. These 6 generating companies, what were the KPIs, key performance
that was laid for them?
That, look, you got in this license, you've taken over this facility.
This is what we expect.
This is what we expect.
In 5 years.
And before we even say you are qualified to take these licenses, show us the books that shows your investment plan to be able to really generate enough for the country. As at that time, the entire installed capacity of Nigeria was 13,000 megawatts. We need to ask ourselves, these GENCOs, what have they been able to do 10 years down the line, 11 years now, since they took over those licenses? The problem is still the fact that, look, there's a problem with gas. That's what we're not dealing with. Because a lot of those generation companies then, unfortunately, were going to be run on thermal plants, which was just payload gas. And people have asked, they've been asking the question, why did we decide to go all thermal? Whereas in different parts of the country, there are natural resources that could have been used to generate electricity. But we all went thermal. So even when we're able to produce gas in some parts of the country, how do you move gas, for example, from Imo State to the plant in Oshogbo?
True.
So that model, when we were doing that, was there a model? Was there a template? Was there a blueprint to say, no, generation should not be a mono arrangement? Okay,
it should be based on your peculiarity
and your resources.
There's coal in Enugu, channel that. There's sunlight in Taraba, channel that. There's water in Lagos, channel that.
So the places where you have gas, who had that discussion? Who were the guys that sat on the table to draft the template of the power sector when it comes to generation, to say that, look, we can't just go thermal. We're going to run into trouble. We're going to be in trouble, really, because
let us build gas channel across the
pipelines run. And that's why today, one of the biggest challenges in the power sector is that, look, a lot of these companies that have produced gas, I've said it has become extremely expensive for them, and that the cost, because the cost of producing it is not even the major cost too. Moving it around too, getting it into those thermal plants is also a problem. So how did we get into the situation where we didn't see the future? How did we get to the situation where we're not futuristic about the idea of, okay, can we look at solar farms? Okay, a country like Germany has more than 6 gigahertz of electricity. That's like times 10 of what Nigeria generates through solar. And it is going to a point where they're even telling my people that, look, we have generated too much. Can you please
use light? Shed off the load. Use light.
And then you have coal. If you check South Africa, today generates about 60,000 megawatts of electricity, largely from coal. So there was that problem. We didn't envisage it. It was just done, it was so beautiful, Genco, Tisco, Disco. It was almost like
defining it's about nomenclature.
So here we are now, 11 years down the line, we are still where we are. What we are able to generate ever.
The highest
is
ever.
around 4,000 megawatts. It's not on record that we have been able to do more than 5,000 megawatts in this country.
And that's disturbing.
So I'm coming. Now we move to the next layer. Because you ask yourself now, that's a problem somewhere with generation. Transmission, the Abiku national grid that keeps collapsing. Unfortunately, we left it in the hand of government. There were no clear investment plans. The transmission stations in different parts of the country. What was the working model? What was the blueprint really? To get them to capacity so that when we look, it's so bad that even the little 4,000 megawatts we're generating, by the time you put the load on the transmission end, it collapses.
Crash.
So you are not even generating enough. The little you are generating,
they don't have capacity to
even carry it. It's just a
on.
load. When you put it on the transmission, the thing just goes down. And then you are still dealing with vandals. You keep dealing with collapse of the national grid. A lot of times we go to zero transmission because we have a complete collapse. Blackouts across the nation.
A lot of those things are damaged.
The transformers,
depots,
they are even obsolete.
They are old.
Old facilities, the big transformers at the transmission stations are old. They need complete revamp. They've been overused. So some of them carry dates in this as early as old as the 70s, and they are still there. So we left that. And then the politics of the national grid. You lump everything together. It's also unfortunate that, look, the grid, the National Grid Act says that, look, immediately you generate beyond a particular threshold, you must hand it over.
Yes.
That's also a problem. The laws and the legislation guiding the electricity, situation of the country. And then you go to the last one, where we have the disco dancers. The 11 of them. As we speak, a lot of them have been taken over by the banks. Because there was no clear investment plan. They got these licenses. I get a lot of them from vested interest. They had, who blah, 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 and all of that. There was no clear investment plan as to how they're going to run as discos. That even when eventually we generate, transmit, a lot of times we have seen the transmission end saying that the discos reject. They say we can't carry. They'll keep what you are bringing. We don't have the capacity to distribute what you are bringing to us. You can see that we are not generating enough. And
but even the little. So how do we even push for more generation when the distribution don't have the capacity to accept the little we are generating?
We've seen situations where they say disco say, look, because
we don't have the capacity to distribute.
What are the equipments for distribution? These small transformers, the cable lines, blah blah blah. A lot of them are still old. There are some areas you go and check their transformers. From the days of NEPA, they are still there. You have situations where
they've repaired those transformers like 1 million times.
You just see they keep using.
Put this one, put the rod.
They're still there. Some of them are just open. So you can't get anything done with that kind of model. And so when the president was saying that, look, I'm going to fix electricity and ensure that there's no estimated billing, what was going on in his mind? We've seen some efforts, no doubt, with the new Electricity Act that has now given the opportunity for states to domesticate the law
and distribute
and then begin to tear it apart, decentralize the entire structure. But it is one thing to come up with a law. Another thing is, how do you drive it to ensure it now happens? Because at the end of the day, if you domesticate the law or you come up with all of the laws and the states don't activate it, it still goes back to his government. Are Nigerians now having stable power under this? Because it's still going to be people asking the question, what has he been able to do? So when he was doing all of those laws and hoping that the states would domesticate, was there a template really to drive that? So I think that, look, we've been inundated with too many promises. I will do this, I'll get that done. The president is not short of beautiful speeches. He's unlike President Muhammadu Buhari, who hardly talks. The president will talk, and he's been talking. He keeps talking. He keeps making promises. But, the promises don't amount to anything until Nigerians begin to see the reality of those promises.
Well, it's quite unfortunate. Well, if you're listening, it's Mainland FM. It's Midweek Politics, 1 to 3 p.m. every Wednesday, and it's Said Fuad and myself, Okoyemi Akene. We're taking you through this conversation, and we'll spend a lot of time on power. And as a Nigerian, I was apart from we doing our jobs of, keeping the people informed, all of the whole build up to the election, I took my time to read the renewed hope policy document.
Yeah, I think we did a lot of review.
We broke it down on different
page by page,
page by page. We broke everything down. And then you would expect that 5 key things that the president needed to really focus on has to do with the power sector that we just discussed. The issue of restructuring, the issue of food inflation, because the whole food inflation thing did not start with this administration. Don't let it get it wrong. It started off from the last administration where farms became unaccessible. Remember, there was a time where the northern side of the country said they would not bring tomatoes and produce down to the south, and we felt it. I also looked at the issue of boosting local production and manufacturing. Issues of insecurity as well, food inflation. These were the things that I was really looking forward to. That the president said he's going to hit the ground running, and I expect that, at this point, what are the issues, or what are the promises, the expectations, or the projections ahead of increasing, our export potentials, rather than for us to be almost a 98% import-dependent country. Everything, to our pencils, to our slippers, everything is brought into this country. There is no way your currency will gain power when it is second in terms of import options. No, but people do businesses in this country with foreign currencies right now. Side forward, you won't believe that some medical facilities, they will require you to pay in dollars in this same country. So you look at the last 1 year and you ask yourself, in the area of security, have we done well? In the area of infrastructures, have we done well? You also look at some of the key cabinet members that seems to have an idea of what they should do. You look at the Minister of Works, for instance. You look at maybe Minister of Interior as well. You look at the Minister of Mines, Mr. Dele Alake. You look at some of these issues, but you ask yourself again, the more fundamental ministries, what are they bringing on board? The FCT minister, I was talking to a friend of mine on Saturday evening, and he was like, we cannot continue to make. I say, why? He said there's security cameras everywhere in Abuja right now. That we can turning Abuja to Little London. Let's hope all of that will be sustained. But side far, in all of this, if you're not working on mainland FM, and I meet you on the street of Lagos, and I ask you, how would you rate this administration in the last 1 year on the basis of some of the promises made? Dr. Akande always say that we miss our conversation when it comes to politics here, because we always listen to what the people want to do for us rather than for us to tell them what we want them to do. It's just like when I was employed here, the management told me that this and these and these and these are the things you will do. I'm not supposed to come here and tell you that this is what I'll be doing, because you're paying my salary. I'm paying the president's salary as a taxpayer. I'm paying the governor's salary as a taxpayer. So I'm the one that's supposed to tell the government. You can't employ me and be the one that will tell you what I want to do. It's simple. How would you rate this government in the area of security? The Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, was talking a couple of weeks back, and he talked about the achievement that the forces, the boys have achieved, how they've been able to pen down people to the back and all of that. But side forward, in December, it was Plateau State. In February, it was Kaduna State. The same February, it was Sokoto State. The same February, it was Katsina State. A lot of people don't even know that there are reports of over 500 people kidnapped in Zamfara in the last 48 hours.
I was going to say, it's even from Matawale's home state.
From Matawale's home state, where he just became the immediate past governor of the state. And he's the Minister of State for Defense. Have we done well? Or you think we should have gone way better than we are right now? The president has done his bit in terms of equipment. 20 helicopters were reported to have been brought in. More are reported to be on the way. I was watching the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense yesterday on Daytime 360 that I made reference to, and I was talking about the helicopters, the fighter jet, and all of those being brought in. Why have we not made any sustainable project or progress rather? It's almost like we make one step forward, side forward, and we take about 50 steps backward. Look at the Confluence University in Kogi.
Yeah.
They are now rescuing the students in bits.
Is it rescue or release?
Whichever way. 5 today, 3 years today, 6 tomorrow.
If you have a group of students picked in their numbers, and the report you're getting is an instrumental release, permit me to use that word. They were taken in one full swoop. And
they were returned, they are being returned instrumentally in fives and in
and what you are being told is that they are being rescued. Rescue for me shows that there should be an exchange of gunfire.
Maybe it's
by now, people should have been, there should be some form of combat. By now, maybe those bandits or kidnappers, they should have been losing their lives. How do you just bring people back? It's all quiet, all silent, and they are coming in tranches, just bad by bad.
As if you are taking delivery of bags of rice.
But again, that's the story of Nigeria. Like you have said, the Minister of State for Defense in his home state, there's trouble in the land. Again, some of those reports I like to really confirm and reconfirm because when you have 500, why not 501? Why not 492?
Why is it round?
And then
was it that they did the head count and they said 500?
Remember when students were picked in Kaduna State, what we got was 281 until when they came back and the governor said I think we were 115 or so. So again, when we get some of these figures, I like to ask journalists, how do you come up with your figure? When you say 500, was it that when they
do you know where they were taking them to? Did you go there to count?
And then when the kidnappers were taken, did they count and say, okay, 500 enough? So when I get some of these figures, I just because of but again, the fact is that people have been taken, so we shouldn't really bother ourselves with all of those figures. The fact is that Nigerians have been taken as we speak in their numbers, so we can work with that. 2 policemen were also killed in the recent attack, and I think some soldiers also lost their lives. I think another thing is this, and that's why I keep trying to probe into the mind of the president. Unfortunately, for those that have the access to the president, that have been able to get access to the president, I would think some of our colleagues have not done a very good job as to really probing. Because in our training, one of the things when it comes to campaign promise that you should dig into is to continue to ask the how. So that, because the devil is in the detail. It is not just by saying I would. Look, from 1999 to date, it's almost looking as if
it's the same campaign template.
It's just like just go and retype the manifesto, change 1 or 2 things, and give it to them. Or when Chief Olusegun Obasanjo came in 1999, it was the same promise. Yar'Adua came, the same promise. I don't think any of them, for example, Okwemi, had ever attempted to become president without promising, I'll fix power, I'll fix insecurity, I'll fix infrastructure, I'll make the refineries work. And at the end of their tenure, they leave without getting anything done. And then the next person comes, he makes the same set of promises, and then we go round, he leaves, nothing gets done. The next man comes. Look at when Buhari came, Okwemi. Everyone had expected that, look, if he fails in every other thing,
security,
at least security as a former
general,
sorted. And then also the issue of the oil sector, because of his experience as former Minister of Petroleum.
And he made himself the Minister of Petroleum.
And the fact that he made himself the Minister of Petroleum, people are told that, remember when he first came, he said there's a new sheriff in town. All of the shenanigans or subsidy payments, the reason why the finance are not working, the man that will fix it is here. And it's even good that he made himself, we're saying that now as Minister of Petroleum,
nobody will steal money.
How they will move subsidy money?
Refineries will work.
The refineries that they've been doing turnaround maintenance, how it don't work under Buhari, we'll see it.
It says of PDP, just PDP.
60 years of PDP, excuses, 4 years, it went. 8 years down the line, insecurity became worse. Students were kidnapped in their numbers under Jonathan, under Buhari several.
The weekend the president was in Katsina State,
there was an attack.
Boys were kidnapped in the same Katsina where the president
his
was.
Convoy was attacked at
his own arrival party was attacked.
So where I'm going to is this. That, again, failed promises. And then the oil sector. Subsidy was paid. The figures ran into trillions. No accountability.
Subsidies were paid for supplies not made.
And what I'm saying, that no cleanup was ever done. The refineries did not even refine 1 liter of petroleum. The only thing I would say that was achieved under him was that we helped at least a private man build a refinery, which was commissioned in a hurry, at least to put it on the fact that the president did something. That's President Muhammadu Buhari. And now, Nigerians are wondering again, are we in for another 4 years or 8 years of promises, and nothing gets done? So it's 1 year, Okoyemi, and that is the story of Nigerians. Insecurity is still at the highest, Okoyemi. Whatever happened under Jonathan, under Buhari, is still happening now. Students are still being kidnapped in their numbers. You understand what I'm saying? Other Nigerians are still being abducted. Kidnapping is still widespread. Insecurity still exists in the southeast. The southwest, Okoyemi, our royal fathers were killed in Ekiti. And Nigerians, look, have you seen a Nigerian who feels completely safe to travel on our roads, interstate? I'm even talking of Lagos to Ogun State. Every Nigerian that travel, look, you know, there used to be a time in this country where night travel was a thing.
It was a big deal for me
Because you sleep.
I just sleep and then you wake up. I'm almost where I'm going to.
You go to our bus parks and the night travel was like the biggest of it all, because people felt it was very good for you to just sleep, wake up, and you're where you are, and then you can start to do what you want to do for the next day. But now Nigerians can't even try that anymore. So you ask yourself, insecurity, power, the economy, Okoyemi, I was waiting for you to get there, which a lot of people have said there would be a piece of cake for the president because of his antecedents from the private sector to what a lot of his supporters will say what he did in Lagos, building the IGR, turning the economy of Lagos around. I said his supporters because, again, there are too many questions really about whether I built Lagos or didn't build Lagos. I'm just saying that, look, one of the things that was sold to Nigerians as his pedigree in his CV was that, look, give the economy to the president, is going to turn things around. What is the story we have today, Okoyemi, with the economy? Over the weekend, a Bloomberg report rated the Nigerian's currency as the worst performing currency in the world as we speak. It speaks volumes, Okoyemi.
Which is not the exact volume we want to hear, because just a few months ago the dollar was rated as the best performing currency in the world when it was closing on 1,000 naira to dollar, and when it was coming down. But in all of this, because I want us to touch the issue of Rivers State again, side forward, we can spend the entire day outlining some of these challenges, but the beauty of governance is that it doesn't end with one person. But you would expect, like there was something I said a couple of years back. I said if each president that we've had since 1999 had made one refinery a project, a legacy project, by now that means we would have had, maybe the president will be working on the 5th refinery.
Of course, yes.
If Obasanjo fixed Kaduna refinery, for instance, and the later Adua and Jonathan, let's put both of them on the same ticket, they did one. Then Buhari also fixed maybe the Warri refinery, and then Jonathan and Yar'Adua decided to fix the pay subsidy from the scratch. It's not like we are building a whole. The president would sit back after months of anticipation. How are you? Because I'm sure when people PC is the government should have handled. Contractors have been mobilized and they're on site. These and these, and talking about a couple of years would bring for this.
Because again, Okoyemi, the optimism can only come if I begin to see that the government is admitting its own errors, and not just still progressing in error. If you understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
I'll begin to get more optimistic when I see the government making some errors.
But they've made reversal on some policies.
Well, I think the latest one, I think the only reversal we've seen practically was this cybersecurity levy.
I saw some ministers and the people rejected some of the appointment of the ministers.
Because again, a lot of outcry from Nigerians, people stood up to it, and I said, it's a policy that was reversed, but we should have queried how that amendment was done. How did it become a law? How was it signed? The law was from 2015, yes, but it was amended to accommodate that. And the amendment in itself was a contradiction to the existing laws on cybersecurity levy. And it was passed and signed by the president. Only, for it to be announced in a circular in itself that runs foul of the dictates of what the law says as far as the cybersecurity levy is concerned, until lawyers were able to dig into it to even say that CBN, when you were drafting this memo to the commercial,
did you read the legal implications to that?
But the fact is that for the government to have even thought about bringing such a levy Now reversed, we agree. But for them to have even brought it up in their minds to the extent that, look, the CBN gave a directive to the commercial banks to
implement.
It shows that, look, they are not reading the room. Shows that they are not really feeling what Nigerians are feeling. You see, it's one thing to mouth it, Okwemi. It's one thing to say it. It's another thing to commit to it and get more intentional about fixing the problem. Because it is, I feel what you feel. I totally love. I think I've recommended Building the Nation as a poem for Sandra to go and read. A poem written by Henry Ballo. I think it's an Ugandan poet, between a driver and his permanent secretary, who is like a government official. And they had gone to a function, a public function, to discuss matters of the state. The driver had done his own job, driving his master to that function. And he sat down there in the car, empty stomach, without anything, without food. And on the other side, the PS, who is the government official here, with his colleagues, had a lot to drink and eat. Okay, they were laughing, discuss quote and unquote serious matters of state. And after all the merrymaking and all the faffing around, the PS came out of the meeting and met the driver and said, "Oh, let's go back home." And on the way back home, after the driver had spent hours, empty stomach, nothing, and the other one had overfed himself, Oga, have you taken anything today? No, Oga, I never eat anything. Oh, I even forgot to eat. Serious matters of state. Sometimes you forget to eat. And so when they both got back home, the driver was suffering ulcer as a result of not eating anything.
The Oga was suffering constipation, overfeeding.
So two people got home feeling discomfort,
tummy discomfort.
But the origin of the discomfort
differs,
coming from different, all in the process of building the nation. And that's the story of Nigeria today. Ordinary Nigerians are being told, oh, be patient.
Make sacrifices.
Tighten your belt. Tighten your belt. Things are going to get better. We understand. Look, the president has repeated, I understand the pains of Nigerians at this time, but I need to take a bold decision severally. That's the story that the government keeps, that's what they keep telling ordinary Nigerians. But you see, I say that, look, okay, maybe Nigerians want to now endure the pain. They want to even understand with the government, give them time. But you can't be telling me, oh, to endure the process, we understand your pain. And then I sit back and look at you on the other side. And I see that, look, profligate spending is still going on. Reckless spending is still going on. You are still buying your SUVs. You are still misappropriating funds. You are still going on a reckless spending spree. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to ask myself, what manner of sacrifice is this? When on the other side, I still see that, look, you're still running your over-bloated budget, you're still pushing monies into irrelevant things, you are still building car parks, you are still buying SUVs, you're still buying yachts, you're still buying computers. Okay, nobody's going to take that kind of appeal seriously, and that's the plight of Nigerians at this time. So again, the hope for me, where is it going to come from? And that's why I say that maybe the president needs to lock himself up in a room, all by himself, and do what I call personal reflection as to sober manner, like, I've gotten this thing against all odds. The late say Chief Obafemi Awolowo, with all of his capacity, with all of his influence, tried it, he didn't get it, as a Yoruba man. The late Chief MK Abiola, at a point was vowed as the pillar of sports in Africa. The philanthropist general, known all over the world, with all of his capacity and influence, he
didn't get it.
He didn't get it. And so I think the president would have, for God to have given me this opportunity. Because again, I didn't list Chief Olusegun Obasanjo because he was just given to him.
His mother is
he was sorted out by some
Southwest.
people. They just and the rest is history. But I'm looking at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who did everything, who has been there in the trenches too during the days of Nadeko, and did all he could do. And here you are, he's come out victorious against all odds, against everything that was thrown at him. I thought that the president would be welfareist. I thought that the president would sit back and say, look, this mandate that God has given to me, you know what the Yorubas call Ori Ede? Yes. Sometimes when you beg God for something,
You have to be careful what you're
And
asking
when
for.
you
The
get
way
it,
it
you have to-
comes.
when it comes, you have to be careful, really. And the only way for you to have serious personal reflection when such things come into your hand, Opeyemi, is first to chase megalomaniacs away from you. Chase the praise singers away from you. Chase the political jobbers away from you. Bring in people who are going to tell you the truth. Bring in people who are going to criticize you. Bring in people who are going to tell you the truth. Not people. Look, you know the story of politicians, Opeyemi. They'll keep people who continue to praise them. Oh, look, people told President Mɪᴅ Wᴇᴜᴜ Pᴏʟɪᴛ that he was doing well. Were they not telling him?
And if he goes to the street, the crowd always follow him.
They're always there. But the reality is the fact is the fact. He has left now. Another APC government is saying that, look, we inherited a bankrupt government from him. But they were there not telling him the truth when he was there. At some point, they even said that, look, we're going to start from where he stopped. Now, they are saying that they inherited a bankrupt government. So, if the government will be starting from where he stopped, are they starting from bankruptcy to go into another bankruptcy? Is that what they are saying? So, I thought that the president, that God has blessed so much to achieve his lifelong ambition, will sit back, reflect, and ask himself critical questions where indeed his government is about bettering the lives of the people or just creating wealth and opportunity for a few political elites that are around him.
I really hope that will be sorted out. You're live on Mila 98.3 FM. We've been appraising the last 1 year of the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We looked at the issue of power, which every single conversation you have to talk about. We look at the issue of security as well. It's something that we've tried our best. We've used both kinetic and non-kinetic means. We've used ADRs or the alternative dispute. We've done almost everything we could do to have a more or a safer country, if you want to put it that way. But it looks like it's from one problem to the other. If it is not kidnapping in Kogi today, it is going to be killing of monarchs in Ekiti. It is this in Zamfara. It is this in the Plateau. The Transparency International released a very damning statement last week that over 1,300 people have been killed on the Plateau in the last 6 months, the last 5 months of 2024, and that is
The numbers
really
are
disturbing.
bad, really.
The numbers are really bad. And when I
Very
say
bad.
really bad, I really understand what I'm saying by really bad. You know, the responsibility is upon us on this side of the profession to, you know,
Say it
put
as it
things in
is,
order,
yeah.
and we have to just say it. Well, we're switching gear a bit, and I'm quite optimistic, side forward, that the next 1 year, just like you said, Professor Wale Soyinka said, after 1 year, then we should start assessing this government.
We're waiting for
Because
his assessment, really.
how's that you will build in 1 year with all the resources you have and all the commitment? People should see it. You should move away from the foundation, and people will say, "Oh, and where's the house?"
Especially when it's a lifelong ambition. So
When-
we were prepared, really.
Over 30 years. So
we're
when they say,
preparing, yeah.
where's the house you've been working on? People don't need to jump over the fence to see. People should be able to see from there, even if you've not completed it.
And it's
Yoruba will
that's
say,
taking shape already.
Yoruba will say that Saturday that will be good. It is from Friday you start having the idea. I mean, I just hope, and I'm pretty positive, because maybe it's time for the president. What you said the other time, that the president should lock himself and sober and look at the things around. In the process of doing that, I think the president should also consider cabinet reshuffle. We have ministers
48 of them.
that have gone MIA almost since they were assigned portfolios. I'm not going to call names, but Nigerians know what I'm talking about. Nigerians can assess themselves. If the ministries are coming around to give an account of stewardship, to organize a scorecard series, there's some ministries that you will not smell them close by. But we're really hoping, because the president said he's going to provide Nigerians with the best of the best to work with. We waited for the cabinet. We saw the members of the cabinet.
It almost 6 months for it to happen.
The kitchen cabinet. Sometimes some people said, "Oh, some people shouldn't have been assigned to this." Is it good? If you are assigned to a portfolio, except you are Mɪᴅ-Wᴇᴜᴜ that said he doesn't have an idea of what he's doing in the Ministry of Interior, apart from announcing public holidays.
And it was clear he failed completely.
But we have a Minister of Interior now that seems to want to bring some different and changes to
And
the
has been
issue
trying,
of
we must say.
Exactly. There's been constant dialogue and meetings within the relevant agencies that makes up the Ministry of Interior. Young man. You also look at the Ministry of Digital Economy as well. We talked about the minister, that's Bosun Tijani.
Yeah.
if you look at how, see, the tech world is the new gold, whether we like to admit it or not. And you see, as little as our Silicon Valley in Yaba is, the level of work that is coming out of those places, the apps and the stuff that Nigerians are coming up with, the payment platforms that Nigerians are coming up with, the mobile solutions that Nigerians are coming up with, the fintech space in Nigeria is growing. So a lot of credit should also go to the Minister of Digital Economy, that's Bosun Tijani. And you also look at the Ministry of Works. Well, there could be the conversation around the Calabar, Lagos, Coastal and all of that. Things are getting done side forward. And you look at the second Niger Bridge was commissioned. I used it the last time I was in Onitsha, even though it was not the administration that started. But I mean, the people of that space will not say because this administration did not start it, will not use it. A couple of other roads too. I know what it means to travel by road in this country, especially the Benin Road. You know how many hours you spend in those places. All of those things are gradually becoming things of. So you want to know that we'd expect more.
Yeah.
But with what we have on ground right now, there's some ministers you don't even have an idea what they are doing. Why in this
country? I begin to ask you a question.
No, maybe we shouldn't. Because there's the Ministry of Agric and Food, whatever. What is going on? What exactly are we working on?
I read a story, I think 2 days ago, that when it comes to ship registration, the big ships now in the maritime sector, Nigeria is lagging behind. Now, all of those ships now have to go abroad to register. And then they come in with their certifications and all of that. That even Togo, Ghana, Benin Republic are doing far better when it comes to registering.
And we have about the third largest coastal line in Africa.
Even the number of ships in Africa, I think we have the highest numbers.
Highest.
But they're going abroad. I would have thought that our former governor in Osun State, and if there was nothing he would have been able to
Minister of Marine and Blue Economy.
Nothing. Practically from that end. Anything about sports? Who's the Minister of Sports?
I think the minister, that one is my forte. I think the minister is trying to play safe.
Has he done anything?
Anywhere.
Do you even know him?
I know him. I know the minister. I'm a sport journalist.
So. What I'm saying is that have you practically seen
it? Is not by knowing.
No, what I'm saying. What I'm saying that has there been anything practically done?
They are still settling in.
Okay,
we'll switch gear a bit, and then I'm seeing your calls already and your messages. You can also follow us on our social media platforms. Woody Austin is already dropping a message on Facebook. It's facebook.com/mainland98.3 FM. Please don't forget to also join us on X, formerly Twitter, on Mainland FM. And on Instagram and YouTube, it's mainland98.3 FM. Let's continue to build a social media family. And more importantly, for the programs that you get to miss, you can go back to our social spaces and catch up and also drop your comment. I think people now understand that we read comments, so it's easier to reach us than to make the phone calls sometimes. Side forward. Let's leave 1 year of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to one side.
It's a continuous conversation.
The conversation continues. Let's look at another 1 year administration that is about to complete. And we're going to the oil-rich River State. Since this program started in January 2024, politics.
Yeah.
I doubt, except we choose to ignore it, I doubt there's any Wednesday that we've not had a reason to say something about River State. Unfortunately, side forward, it has not always been so good. Yes, there's been good moments. Flag up of 1 or 2 projects here and there. But it's either the fact River State has they've used 3 speakers. Side forward.
Yes.
In 11 months.
Yeah.
3 speakers.
Yes, at least we have 1 and 2.
The third one is there now.
I know, yeah, Jumbo.
Yes. There's the former speaker, Right Honorable this in a year, that is now the chief of staff to the governor.
No.
There is Right Honorable Martins Amewule,
yeah.
the one leading the 27 members loyal to the former governor. Moved from the PDP to the APC, and the court is very clear. The party owns the vote. We saw that landmark judgment when the ACN candidate of Kogi State then, the late Prince Audu, when he died. Honorable Jᴏɪᴜ approached the court and said, hey, I was on this ticket. Decline me. The party said, no, it is not you. Did you collect form for governor? No. The vote belongs to the party. And we saw the same judgment was upheld when former Professor Ben Ayade decamped to the APC, and the House of Assembly members that followed him from the PDP, they all lost their seats.
Yeah.
The same thing played out in Zamfara State. Now, Rivers State is supposed to have 31 member House of Assembly. One is late. They've not conducted the by-election.
Yeah, to fill that.
But out of the 30, 3-member House of Assembly. Remember, when the budget was signed, it was deliberated in. That's almost about the fastest budget deliberation I've seen. It was signed by 6 members. Sharp. 800 billion.
Yeah.
Side forward. Sorry, 800 million. Side forward. Look at where we are right now. There is a speaker, that's Right Honorable Victor Okojumbo from Bonny State Constituency 1, that is perceived to be loyal to Governor Fubara.
No, he's loyal to the governor.
He's the speaker now.
Yeah.
Now there is a deputy speaker and there's majority leader.
The
3 of them are sitting. The 3 of them screened the newly sworn in commissioner for justice and attorney general of the federation
of the state.
And during that screening, Governor Fubara made a statement. I'll play the sound bite. What would come back? We'll open it up a little bit. Governor Fubara had come out to say that, hey, he inherited billions of naira debts that was supposed to have been paid to contractors, and his predecessor said he has cleared those debts. The predecessor, the FCT minister on Monday, said he regrets supporting Fubara to be governor of Rivers State. It looks like things are falling apart and the center is not holding. Listen to this soundbite, the voice of Governor Fubara of Rivers State, and he made mention of, you are the brand new Attorney General of the Federation. Take a listen.
I feel very happy that this is happening today to mark the beginning of a new era. When I said I had a reason for being patient, it is because I know that we are all from one family. And if we have a disagreement, no matter how bad it is, it should be resolved. It has become very clear that this disagreement, there is no headway to it. And for a lot of reasons, there are very, very visible evidence that there is a deliberate attempt to sabotage this administration. For that reason, we have to move forward. We have our own legislatures that are performing their duty according to the Constitution. That record is threatened. There is no two ways about it. Our brand new commissioner, you have already been sworn in. I'm happy that you're already a son before coming in. It means that you must have been a thorough man. You're going to be the brand new Attorney General of our years. Why are we bringing you at this very critical time? We have a lot of issues around us. We believe that you're not going to be the one that when they send service to you, you go and file knowledge. Please, we know that you're going to defend us because your record is clean. You're a gentleman, peaceful. You're not a noisemaker. People like that are endowed and they have a fear of God. You have a big tax. As it is today, in the local palace, they said the jungle has matured. We will be setting a panel of inquiry to investigate the affair of governance. For you to be honorable, there are a lot of qualities that people will see. Being honorable is not lying. As a matter of fact, for one to be called honorable, you need to live a honorable life by the special grace of God. I'm here today. Yes, God doesn't make mistakes. Please take full charge of that office. We have a lot of litigations there, both political and also economical. Economical because we have a lot of court cases on oil well. Since I came in, the number of garnishes I feel is a deliberate stint. Please see what you can do to help us in this particular area. Thank you.
Here is easy to bring normalcy and redecorate. It's more difficult.
General elections in 2023 have created conversations and consequences that will live with us for years to come. From the executive to the judiciary, legislature, media, and the people, organized labor, and civil society organizations, issues that will continue to shape the future of our country needs continuous probing and interrogation.
I see the greater objective for the party, and let me tell you, I've told the PDP in some locations that, gentlemen, be careful. Better men have founded parties that have gone into oblivion. Where's the party of Awolowo? Where's the party of Azikwe? Where's PRP of Rimi? Political parties must be nurtured, they must be reinvented, they must be true to their own
Mɪᴅ Wᴇᴇᴜ and Said Fuad on Midweek Politics every Wednesday 1 to 3 p.m. on Mainland 98.3 FM for thought-provoking conversations, voices from the top, engaging interviews, in-depth analysis on all matters around politics, policies, and governance. Midweek Politics on Mainland 98.3 FM, bringing the right perspectives to everything politics.
Politics now big business.
side forward. Let's get on this one as quick as we can so that we'll have enough time to talk to the people. Well, you would join the conversation very soon, and the phone lines to dial is 091-3600-0410. I take the number again, 091-3600-0410. That's the studio line to call to join the conversation. We've talked about a lot of things on the show today. Majorly about the 1 year appraisal of how far, how well, and how good the last 1 year administration of our president Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There's still a long way to go, and the president even told you before he won the election for the first time that if he does not deliver his promises, don't vote him for the second time. That was even before he won for the first time. Talking about politicians is always going to be like that. Side forward, Fubara was Governor Fubara was Nyesom Wike's Accountant General of Rivers State. We knew all of the dramas that came up build up to the primaries of the election. We shouldn't bore the people with all of those details. But if Fubara wants to probe the administration of Nyesom Wike, Fubara was part of that administration. He was the Attorney General of that administration. In fact, as a build-up to the PDP primaries, Fubara was declared wanted by the Economic Financial Crime Commission, the EFCC, and 3 others. It was published in newspapers. If he wants to probe the administration of Nyesom Wike, as he's saying, where would that lead everyone to?
Well, I mean, if the undertaker that knows where the bodies are buried now wants to start to exhume
nowadays is better said in Yoruba.
You know, if the undertaker that knows where the bodies are buried now wants to start to exhume them, there must be something he's looking for, or there's something he wants to achieve. I think that in a democratic experiment, it's really very unfortunate that we are where we are now. You know, I thought that from 1999 till date would have learned some lessons, would have been able to build strong institutions, build strong political culture, to the extent where we would not be having to discuss things like this on national radio. Till today, this moment that we're talking, whether Nyesom Wike, the former governor, or Governor Fubara, none of them have been able to tell us what exactly is causing the fight. If you understand what I'm saying. I've seen people who take sides saying, oh, there was an agreement. And I asked them, are you privy to the agreement? Did you see any agreement? What is in that agreement?
But no, Wike kept saying Yendeba. I mean, agreement is agreement.
For you to have an informed opinion,
you should have an idea of what are the. Is it that I'll give you 20 commissioners?
And I'm not giving the person,
give me CSO, give me access to the contract.
When Baba did the book of the old Amala politics era,
he said what he wanted.
He said,
security votes, 30%.
You know, that one was clear.
It was clear.
So we knew what the issue was.
It was clear.
That was why people like Baba did the book. He said it's Amala politics. It's not. Am I not entitled to at least this amount of money from security votes?
Because he said I made him governor.
Apart from, he said I'm the one even controlling the street.
Yes.
So all these boys in the street,
I'm the one controlling them.
So it was clear. But Wike has not said anything as to this is the reason why
I want to bring this guy down.
And even Governor Fubara has not said anything other than, oh, they want my green biro. It's about this. We don't have leaders. Look, specifics.
So this is what I owe this man.
When we were signing the thing,
these were the things I signed. Nigerians.
We are just saying.
I am sorry I signed it, but these were it. These were the things.
So what we have is a situation where we are just left to speculate, second guess, and begin to come up with all manner of permutations and what have you. But the reality is this: whether we know or we don't know, you understand what I'm saying? We all know that by the time we open the veil, there must be something about the treasury of Rivers State. Something would be, all of these conversations would be about the treasury of Rivers State. I told Sandra earlier in the morning that, look, for you to know the capacity of Rivers State in terms of the Kokobe, there's nobody that has become governor in Rivers State that has not made a decent showing to become president.
Yes. That's so sure.
Because of the capacity to run things.
Access of what the resources they have access to.
And the resources are both legal and illegal. Yeah, we will not go there. For people who are on ground, they know what we're saying. As the governor, there are things you run
You are sitting over the seen and the unseen forces of River State.
Well,
Do you know
an oil-rich River State.
Obiakpo local government is richer than some states in the northeast?
Don't let us go there because of time. But Victor Odili was going to become president against all odds. If not that Olusegun Obasanjo shut him down, you know, put the EFCC against him, he was almost going to get the ticket of the PDP at that time. Rotimi Amechi in the last primaries of the APC, look at what he did. Even after years, he even defeated the vice president. And then you had Nyesom Wike, who, if not for the Tambowa abracadabra on the day of primaries,
the 11th hour, he would have picked up the PDP
he would have defeated the almighty Aliko Abubakar with all of his machinery and what have you. So that is to show you the capacity of River State and whoever governs River State. So again, we can put all of that together for people who are
and then
asking questions.
How you understand what's going on.
So the issue here, Okwemi, is you have a godfather and a supposed